Durst the worst?
Durst the worst.
Durst the worst.
Durst the worst.
Durst the worst.
Oh, Durst the worst.
Durst is the worst.
Durst the worst.
Durst the worst.
Durst the worst?
Durst the worst.
Durst the worst.
Durst the worst.
Durst is the worst.
That's racist. What is racism, you might be asking yourself? Well, this dude who probably makes way the fuck more money than you and everybody that you've ever known combined to whinge about racism, he's going to explain to you what racism is. Let's check it out.
You talked about the importance of defining racism, but I unless I missed it, which is possible, I didn't hear your personal definition. Is there one that you would offer us? Like, how do you define racism?
Sure. So racism, I would define it as a collection of racist policies that lead to racial inequity that are substantiated by racist ideas.
So racism is racism because racism is racism. Brilliant. Give this guy $1 million. Oh, the tailored suit. Oh my God.
Sure. A collection of racist policies that lead to racial inequity that are substantiated by racist ideas.
What the fuck?
And anti-racism is pretty simple, using the same terms. Anti-racism is a collection of anti-racist policies leading to racial, anybody want to take a guess? Equity that are substantiated by anti-racist ideas.
There's that word again, equity. Commie bullshit. So racism is racism. Any policy that produces a racial inequity is racism. And racism is racism. Gives me $10 million. You know? This is why we have exorbitant college tuition and that sort of thing. You know, an exorbitant cost of living in cities because we have to finance and, you know, subsidize the education of people like this so they can give talks like that. How clown ass. You know, anti-racism is just like, it's having a problem with like white dudes or like white Christendom or something, or conservatism. You know, that's basically what it is. And the term racism is just sort of like a cudgel that the left uses to bash people with. You know, particularly, you know, people of a white middle American working class, Christian, vaguely conservative kind of background. Yeah, what do the commenters say? Racism is anything that gets in the way of the Democratic Party's BLM grift. Yeah, that guy's like a fucking used car salesman.
You talked about the important
used car salesman grifter, Teflon coated, empty suit kind of politician. Everything is everything, case closed, exactly. They can't explain a lot of things, gender, economics, work ethic, etc. Exactly. Yeah, commenters bullseye dead on as usual. Definition of racism is racism used in a sentence. Exactly, dude. Yeah, it's amazing that... Ain't that amazing? The amount that these people could just get away with, you know, and it's, I guess, in some circles viewed as a meritocratic kind of thing. I don't know, man. Go to the same school as Kamala, probably. They like to give no concrete definition to certain words so that the word can mean whatever they want it to mean in that moment. Exactly. So malleable definitions in order to politically or socially manipulate any given situation. Classic grifter move. Money grubber move, you know? Like, we've seen it before. And we're still waiting for the definition of racism, which he's made a huge lucrative business out of promoting. Right, I mean, any policy that promotes racial inequity, like, you know, a police officer arrests a black man for, like, shooting at somebody, right? Like, that's a racist. Seriously, I mean, that we all know. We've seen countless examples. That's how BLM types think. The mere act of imprisoning, like, arresting, convicting, and imprisoning a black person, like, that in and of itself is racism. That in and of itself is institutional white supremacy. You know, total fraud. He knows it's just a word game, and the minute that he has to give specifics, it's over. Absolutely. Was that queefy Bugman that asked the question, was he, like, actually kind of based, or was he actually just, like, in good faith, like, he wanted to try to bolster the position, but just, like, inadvertently gave us fodder to rip on the left, which, you know, there's no shortage of that sort of fodder. You can't use the word you're defining in the definition exactly. It's circular, right? It's embarrassing to watch him speak. They really are not bringing their best. They really are bringing their best. So yeah, that low caliber is the left's best. You know, prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism by an individual, community, or institution against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is minority or marginalized. Okay, there you go. That's a definition, at least. But right now, I mean, they always try to fucking focus on this last snippet, though. Oh, you're not marginalized because you're automatically not because you're a white person, which is insanely stupid logic. They don't know what the fuck someone's background is just because they have a certain race or ethnicity or national origin, you know. If anything, you could say that the opposite is true, right? There's evidence in the opposite direction, so... You know, I expected to hear the Curb Your Enthusiasm music. Yeah, would have been apropos, wouldn't it? Fucking circular definition. You know? Modern racism is just a word that is thrown around at political opponents in order to demonize them and be able to maintain power and control. Yep. It's like if you didn't vote for this, you're racist. If you didn't support this protest, you're racist. If you did or did not do a certain thing or think a certain thing, you are an ist or a phobe, and therefore you're wrong, right? We can smear you. It's really shady tactics that someone who's dressed up like a freaking car salesman and acts as such would employ. So, fuck these people. I'm out.
But there's nothing left to say. If you watch football, you're gay. If you watch football, you're gay. When there's nothing left to say. If you watch football, you're gay. 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 You're really fucking gay. And there's nothing left to say. If you watch football, you're gay. If you watch football, you're gay. Then there's nothing left to say. If you watch football, you're gay. 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 You're really fucking gay. And there's nothing left to say. If you watch football, you're gay. If you watch football, you're really fucking gay. And there's nothing left to say. If you watch football, you're gay. If you watch football, you're really fucking gay. If you're distant by a black man, go far. Trust me, you really feel you're really fucking gay. If you're distant by a black man,